the Stargate.
Hey, welcome back. This is another episode of Back to the Stargate. I'm your host, G-Raj, with my co-host, Captain
Fuzzy Nuts, even though I've been recently promoted to Admiral, and I'm going to say that in the beginning of every episode until you fucking get it right, G-Raj.
Fuzzy Nuts. Chris.
I didn't spend 32 years...
I didn't them goddamn potatoes to be a goddamn fucking name.
We call a goddamn cat? What's on today's menu?
We got creepypastas.
Creepy?
Yes.
Pastas.
You know them things you read on the internet?
Favorite Italian dish.
Yeah, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with Italiano.
Oh, no?
It's stories you read. If you were 50, you would say urban legend. If you were, it's a campfire story, basically, for people who don't know what campfire.
It's an internet campfire story.
Yeah,
internet urban legend. Like Slender Man, all this, that, and the third.
Yeah, that's
those stories that you get to reading, and you're like, wow, this is really good. Then halfway through, you're like, oh, so it was written by a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Kind of corny, but that's why we love them.
But some of them are real good.
Yeah, they start
good horror.
There's been, scary stories on the internet, on and off, since the internet became a thing, but creepypastas really started to take a hold in, 2005, 2006, to the point where there's, at least to my knowledge, 3 official creepypasta websites, and we got a bunch of stories from those websites for you guys.
Yeah, some of them could be true, some of them are not true, they're just stories, but it's somebody tells you about, the hitchhiking ghost.
The killer is real. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm saying, the Rake. The Rake is a real cryptid now. It just started off as a creepypasta.
Skinwalkers started off as a creepypasta.
Yeah, now they're real things now.
Yeah, now they're just super...
Did we wish them into existence?
Ooh.
Maybe they didn't exist, but everybody believed in it enough that it's real now.
Chris, in post-editing, Captain Fuzzy Nuts, Admiral Fuzzy Nuts, put the X-Files theme right here. Did we wish them into existence?
You never know.
Are we a victim of our own?
That's something to think about. Can we wish shit into existence? Because we've had scary stories since we've been around.
We'll have to do an episode on tulpas at some point.
Scary monsters.
Since we're on Rumble now, we could do a Rumble episode.
Yeah, check us out on Rumble.
Check us out. Check
it out.
That's gonna get us copyrighted. No, but we do have some stories. Since everybody loves creepypastas, we got a whole episode dedicated to creepypastas.
We're gonna read some good creepypastas.
We're gonna read you some stories, and then on the funny parts, and you'll know when they're funny because one of us is gonna interrupt.
That's right. One of us will say something.
We're gonna dissect and read some creepypastas.
Yeah. Now this should be a spooky episode.
Spooky.
All right, you got one for us there?
Yeah, I got one.
Admiral Fuzzy Nuts.
Oh, you got it right. All right. Finally, you see this medal? You see this medal?
Yeah. Just think, Captain.
We got us a classic creepypasta. I don't know if it's classic. I've never heard of it before, but it's a classic formula. Tap, 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 tap.
Oh, shit.
And this is written by Mergel. Not Virgil. Mergel. So Mergel, good job. You caught my attention with this one. So it's so hard to find a good online story that'll grab your attention like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you should probably just read it then.
Shut up! Don't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. You're not my real dad. All right. So, like I said, this is by Mergel. It's called Tap 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 Tap.
All right.
And I'm gonna go into story mode voice now.
All right.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. Tap 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 tap. Do not do it. Do not give it the satisfaction.
I can make campfire noises.
Shut up! You're ruining it. You're ruining it. Stop it. Tap, 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 tap. Maybe this time it'll go away. Tap, 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 tap. So I'm gonna do this over, and I'm not even gonna just like, I'm not even gonna pretend this time. But you see that part right there?
Yeah.
And you see that part right there? You do the tap taps, like tap tap.
Okay, I can do that.
See?
Yeah.
See? So like tap
Tap,
tap
tap, tap.
tap tap.
Tap, tap, tap.
Sorry, I know I'm usually good at this.
Tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, but
Tap, tap, tap. I need help. Tap, 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 tap. SOS.
SOS,
Tap, tap,
SOS.
tap,
So yeah, so you go tap 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 tap, and then I'll go do not do it, so on and so forth, like that. And I'm leaving this in the episode just so this is staying in. They need to sneak peek behind the scenes, man.
No, they don't. It's terrible.
All right, you do it. You got to say tap tap.
Tap, 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 tap. All right, tap, 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 tap.
Do not do it. Do not give it the satisfaction.
Tap, 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 tap.
Maybe this time it'll go away.
Tap, 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 tap.
I had to force myself not to turn around and look at my windows. Eyes bore into the back of my skull, and yet the constant tapping was ever so slowly dwindling down. I could almost hear the frustration of the creature. At first, I thought it must have been a tree branch, but a tree branch does not stand 4 feet tall and have it out for me. 15-year-old, I love it. You gotta love it. You can just tell through the right.
Hey, man. It was a Thursday. The test was due.
I focused in on my computer screen, trying to block out the sound. Music was ineffective, and turning on the TV only made it worse. I checked the time. It was 3:24 a.m. 6 more minutes, and you are free, I told myself.
Tap, 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 tap.
The minutes dragged on, slowly inching towards 3:30 a.m. God damn it, G-Raj.
Sorry.
The tapping echoed throughout the room, vibrating through my mind. 3:26 a.m. 3:29 a.m. Right on cue, the tapping ceased at exactly 3:30 a.m. as per usual every day this past week. I sighed and turned around to finally crash on top of my bed and get what little sleep I could. Relieved to finally be able to sleep in peace, I turned back and forth to find a comfortable spot. That was when I saw it. Tat 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 tat. It was tiny, almost the size of a small child. Its eyes seemed unnatural. Its eyes seemed unnatural to its body, too big and bulky. Its skin was pale gray and resembled stretched hide. Long, thin pieces of hair grew from random spots on its head. It had a permanent smile, its rotten, jagged teeth pressed up against my window. It was standing on my windowsill, its bony finger tapping on the pane, creating a sick rhythm.
Tap, 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 tap.
It pressed its stubby face against my window. I sat, frozen in fear, eyes locked and unsure of what to do.
Yo, man, you got any crack?
It just stared at me, unblinking and unmoving. I shook in both terror and uncertainty. It began to tilt its head like a confused dog, still unblinking. A couple of minutes passed, and it still had not blinked once. Its eyes remained glued to mine, almost synchronizing with my clock on the far end of the room, drawing out the night endlessly. God damn, dude, just get to the point. This god-awful tapping reverberating within my skull and filling my thoughts. Part of me wanted to get up and scream at it, but I was paralyzed. It just stared and continued to tap.
Tap, 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 tap.
He needs to take his medication, dude. Eventually, the sun began to rise from behind the tree line. The rays of light struck my window and then the creature. It twisted its head around to investigate the source and then turned back to me. Its smile widened at me one last time and the creature vanished into the woods. Exhausted and terrified, I lay down in my bed to catch the last hour of sleep I could. He said that already. It would be a while until my body forced sleep upon me. That's why you're in the bed. The next night I prepared myself for tapping. However, it never happened. I drew the blinds, turned off the light, and lay down for hopefully peaceful sleep. I let out a sigh of relief. One more night of it, and I would have gone.
Tap, 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 tap.
I sprung up, my ears straining and tapping. Goddamn the tapping. my ears straining and jumping at every creaky groan of the house. After a few minutes, the tapping was heard again.
Tap, tap.
Not tapping on the glass. No, a deeper tap. It was the sound of finger on wood, and it was from across the room. It was from inside my closet.
Tap, 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 tap.
Oh God!
The call's coming from inside the house.
The tap's coming from inside the.
That was a good one. That was creepy.
No, but yeah, like Golem sitting there tapping at your window every night, and then all of a sudden you don't hear it. My first thought wouldn't be, "Oh shit, I can sleep." No, I'd be like, "Where the fuck did it go?"
Where did
it go?
I collect swords. I'd have been like,
tap, motherfucker, step. But no, like I love it because like there's just a certain type of writing style when it comes to creepypastas. Yeah. Overuse of adjectives.
Yes, they never get to the point.
They seriously describe every little thing they can.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that it was a real story, but you're going into way more detail.
Way more detail than you need to. And this is just like the perfect introduction to that.
It is.
Like the perfect introduction to that.
I have a short one.
And like they have like fucking, like there's certain creepypastas that got really famous. There's certain creepypastas that broke out of the internet forums onto the TV screen.
Oh yeah, like Candle Cove.
Candle Cove.
They did a movie about it because it's a really weird idea that has been floated around forever in urban legends and stories and magazines and and now in that TV show. But
they had that Channel Zero.
Channel Zero. It was like a Twilight Zone kind of show where every episode
like
was
an anthology series.
Yeah,
on
the
the
tooth guy was creepy, man.
They
all made teeth. That's fucking weird.
Like just tap. Clack. No more taps.
Yeah, tap. Yeah, dude. But no, it would be creepy if you were just sitting there all alone and you saw somebody tapping at your window.
It would. That's like a fucking one of my worst.
The one creepypasta where the guy he comes to he's lost in the woods. He sees a cabin and he gets in and he figures the guy won't mind if he's sleeping there.
Yeah, because he's lost.
It's like it's Alaska. It's cold, so he gets in there. He gets in bed and he notices all these angry portraits on the wall. People just staring, like angry. And he's like, man, that's weird. And the next morning he gets up and he notices there were windows. There was no portraits.
They were staring at him.
So people were staring at him the whole time. Speaking of Candle Cove, I got a story. It's called Candle Cove.
Oh, shit.
It's written by Chris Straub.
Oh, yeah, he did like Local 58 and shit.
Yeah, he did a couple of
analog port, which that sounds.
He's a good author.
So, yeah, we'll do that on Rumble.
This story is more like it was in a forum, and these people were talking to each other in a comment section.
Yeah, so it's presented in the format of like reading an instant message chain, like an old school like AOL instant messenger.
Yeah, but you could just think of it as like it's in a comment section or something. You know what I mean?
All right, well, fucking take it away, G-Rod.
All right,
swing for the fences and go.
Sorry. Let's do my Ron Burgundy. It comes most often at night. The nagging memory gnawing in some corner of your mind like a rodent chewing the corners of drywall. The memory of some brightly lit cartoon from Funland or a world of puppets. A memory of a TV show you would watch seated cross-legged on the living room floor with only the fixed, enthusiastic attention a child can give. Attention you wish now you perhaps hadn't given so freely. For there is something about the show, something about the discordant music, the details of the characters, the motivations, the storylines, the fixed maniacal grins that seems, looking back, to be altogether too sinister to be a kid's show. You try to block the memory, but yet, there in the back of your mind, so often at night, the puppet's fixed grin keeps on smiling.
And you see, like, that perfectly describes, like, that one show that you remember watching as a kid that you maybe shouldn't have been watching. Because it looks like a kid's show.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not a kid's show.
Wonder shows him. I'm looking at you.
I'm sitting here looking back, thinking, like, maybe Ren and Stimpy shouldn't have been on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
it's also think of that kid show you saw, and you try to explain it to people, like, "Yo, kids, you guys ever watch that?" And they look at you like crazy, like, "Nah," and you're like,
"No, like this was a
that was a fever dream." Like, no,
did I actually think that? Yeah. Did I actually see that? Was that real? You know, something like that.
So the first comment is from SkyShale033.
Think of this as a Reddit thread.
Yeah. Subject: Candle Cove Local Kid Show. Does anybody remember the kid show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local TV station in 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 o'clock.
Mike Painter, 65. Subject: Candle Cove Local TV Kids Show. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland. I was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl.
Yes. This is SkyShale033. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy, and I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was, but I think it was WTSF though.
Jaron, 2005. Subject: Candle Cove Local Kids Show. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean. Sky Shell. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple of months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. And I like that. That's callback because this is Chris Straub, and he did Local 58. Yeah. It was an analog horror show, like series that came out a few years back.
Yeah, you guys building his own universe.
Yeah, he's building a whole own universe. Like, it took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughing Stock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was calliope music constantly playing. I don't remember the girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice.
SkyShale033. Thank you, Jerry. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the Laughing Stock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face, and the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea. It had that awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. Ed Wynn's fucking Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. Disney's Alice in Wonderland.
Change places!
That guy, yeah. That dude. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked.
That would be creepy as shit, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Mike Painter, 65. Subject: Candle Cove Local Kids Show. Haha, I remember now too. Do you remember this part, Sky Shell? You have to go inside.
Sky Shell. Ugh, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in.
You have to go inside.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause.
You have to go inside.
With his two eyes askew, that flopping foam jaw, and the fishing line that opened and closed it. Ugh, yeah. It just looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above a really tall, narrow teeth.
And then this one is Kevin Hart.
Oh, that's what Kevin Hart knows about. Okay, cool.
I honestly thought the villain was a pirate.
So John Travolta.
Shut up! I can't do a Kevin Hart. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare Fuel,
Mr. Carter.
I can't do Kevin Hart.
This is Jaron, 2005. That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache, that was only the villain's sidekick. Horse. Horrible. He had a monocle, too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he had only one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette. The Skin Taker.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's good for a kid's show.
Skin Taker.
I can't believe that they used to let us watch back then.
I'm going to do this again like it's Kevin Hart.
It's Kevin Hart.
But I'm doing John Travolta. Jesus H. Christ. The Skin Taker. What kind of a kid's show are we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the skin taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings. Just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape. And his glass eyes. They were too big for his skull. I'm going into Christopher Walken. Christ almighty.
This is Sky Shell 033. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily what was supposed to be children's skin?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Mike Painter, 65. Reese. Subject, read Candle Cove local kids show. Yeah, I think so. Remember, his mouth didn't open and close. His jaw just slid back and forth. That's terrifying. I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?"
And the skin
taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, "To wind your skin." That's terrifying.
Sky Shell 033. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended, the show faded in from black, and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces, and they were just screaming.
That's terrifying.
And the puppets and the marionettes were all flailing spastically, and they just all screaming and screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she's been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it.
I'm sorry, but the way he described the puppets had me think of Kermit the Frog. Flailing around. Kevin Hart again. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode.
No, not possible. There was no plot. This is Sky Shell 33. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place crying and screaming for the whole show.
I gotta keep doing the fucking. I gotta keep doing it. I started to this. Kevin Hart. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed.
This is Jaren 2005.
I swear to God.
Oh God, yes, the little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake and the skin taker screaming through his gnashing teeth.
What the fuck?
His jaw careening so wildly, I thought it would come off with wire hinges. I turned it off, and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother we didn't have the courage to turn it back on.
I wouldn't either as a kid. Mike Painter, 65. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little. That's not how you spell little.
Yeah.
About when I was little in the early 70s, when I was about 8 or 9, if she remembered a kids show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I remember that, and I asked why, and she said, because I used to think it was so strange that you said, I'm going to go watch Candle Cove now, Mom. And then you would tune the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show.
Oh.
That's terrifying.
Yes.
That's how you end that story off.
That's
that
some CIA shit right there.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
straight up fucking MK Ultra fucking pirate broadcast shit.
Yeah. This is a great. That's
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what creepypastas are. They're monsters.
Yeah, you see, not all of them are terribly written.
Yeah, that was good.
And I'm pretty sure Kevin Hart doesn't sound like John Travolta.
You sound just like him, man.
Just
Kevin
like
Hart. Sounds just like him.
Yeah, you know, I remember seeing that Jumanji. He sounded just like that. But yeah, not all creepypastas are terribly written. Some of them are good, and some of them, they end up going to TV. Yet we don't mention Slender Man. That's like mentioning Dragon Ball Evolution to a Dragon Ball fan, dude. We don't do that. Slender Man's like the generic creepypasta, although some of those games are
all the pervs ruined it with all that sexy this side character guy. He's like having sex with Slender Man, and I was touching Slender Man's bulge or whatever. Creepy
Slender
shit, man.
Man, Slender thing.
Like, there's a lot of weird sexual creepypasta. I would say if it's on the left, make a right. Yeah.
Rule 34 of the internet. If it exists, there's porn of it on the internet. Too. I hate it. As a Pokemon fan, I hate it.
Yep.
But, most creepypastas are short. Creepypasta is from back in the day. You had those copy pastas. Yeah. Like, chain letters were copy pastas.
Some of them
you just see a story get copied over and over, and a creepypasta is just a scary version of that.
Saying you got a creepypasta, they take on a life of their own. You know what I mean? There's like Like, look at the back rooms. That's like all that's part of the creepypasta now, you know?
It started off on 4chan.
Yeah.
And a lot of creepypasta started on 4chan. I don't have the nerve to start through 4chan.
They're letting that kid direct his own Backrooms movie.
Oh, that's cool.
A24 is. It's gonna be cool as shit. Because he's like, no, I want to finish school and do this myself. Because he's the youngest director ever.
Damn, yo.
Yeah.
We can do it. We can make our own creepypasta.
I suggest if anybody's out there and you haven't seen the original Backrooms from Kane Pixels, check it out.
Check it out. It is pretty cool. I like it. Well,
scary shit, dude.
I'd put a link, but I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah,
I'll do it anyway.
Yeah,
keep an eye out on the link. But yeah, you know, in the spirit of what we're doing right now, I have a rather. It's not too long, but it's longer than what we've done before.
Okay.
All right. So this one is called Chiropterans.
Do you need?
If you know what a chiropteran is, I don't need no campfire. No, you can do some monastic chants in the background. So they're
It sounds like campfire if you do that with paper, though.
on a dark, lonesome night. On a dark, lonesome night, just like tonight, there was a man with a hook for a hand. And he came out from behind the fire. No, but this story is called Chiropterans, all right?
Chiropterans?
Do you know what a chiropteran is?
It's what I go my chiropteran.
A chiropteran is it's a bat.
Okay,
it's a bat. It's the family of bats.
Oh, okay.
So you
got Latin name for bats?
You got mega chiropterans, micro chiropterans. You got the big bat, a little bat, itty bitty bat, little tiny bat, big bat. You know, Batman, bat brick, bat.
I cast Batman.
Bang!
I got bang! No.
But
Mark.
All right. So this starts off with a quote. With the advent of genetic engineering, the time required for the evolution of new species may literally collapse. D-Hawk. No clue who that is, but he be speaking truth. Like, we got CRISPR. Evolution, it don't take time no more. We make that shit happen.
That's right. I wait 100,000 years when you get it done in 30.
Exactly. I want to see what that chicken would look like with teeth.
I'm saying.
Anywho,
let's put the bat wings on the tarantula and see what happens.
Yeah, just see what happens. You know, let's go.
Let's give the shark wings and let it fly. I mean, let's see what happens.
Why the fuck not? It was a tiring job being a security guard. Brian Tanner had been promised a lot more by the scientists when he was hired.
What would Brian Boy Tanner do?
It's fucking South Park reference. There's kids out here that don't know what that is.
You're right, too.
Brian Boitano, dude. He expected to try to fight off burglars, and the promotional sticker which said, "So you think your James Bond didn't help?" But he found out too late that his job would only amount to sitting down and staring at a computer screen. I feel it. Not even security cameras or something interesting like that, but merely a screen with some tables on it. He sighed in exacerbation as he gulped down the third coffee that morning, because English. He hadn't had any sleep in a couple days. He recalled how he had tried to catch a few minutes of sleep a couple times, but he was always woken up by the damn siren. He's trying to honk some me.
Is it British?
Why did they need a security guard? He figured if they were watching every single thing he was doing on a monitor anyway, what was the point? Brian yawned, taking in another gulp of coffee. Just gotta make it through today, he thought to himself. And I tell them where to stick this job.
You can take this job, sure.
He started to think of what he would do after he quit. He'd always wanted to get enough money to travel the world visiting places like Machu Picchu in the Caribbean. By now, it seemed he would never achieve that dream. As his thought crossed through his mind, he was jolted back to reality by the sudden beeping coming from the monitor in front of him. He looked down at the monitor. And we got a grid here, alright? It's categorization, population, genome, status. Number 1, PTV1, population 13, genome New Zealand lesser short-tailed bat, and common house mouse. Status compromised. The mouse bats got out. Oh shit. PTB2.
Mouse bats? Wouldn't that just be a bat?
There's 13 of them. No, because they got the growing teeth that never stop and they be gnawing.
Yo, a mouse can chew through metal and shit, bro.
Exactly. PTB2. Population 5. Genome. Greater mouse-tailed bat mixed with red-bellied piranha mixed with superb lyrebird. So we got us a flying piranha that can talk to you.
Oh shit, dude.
Thankfully, status contained. PTB3. Population 2. Genome. Greater false vampire bat mixed with a giant moray eel.
Why would you do that?
Contained. Also in PTB2, there's these initials HG, and in PTB3, SG. What the fuck does that mean? We're getting there. Brian noticed it right away. He really had no idea what any of the charts meant. He knew the term musculus somehow, but that was about it. But that one of the cells said compromise was certainly worrying, right?
Yeah. What am I here for?
He reached towards his radio and flicked it on, bringing it up to his ear. Almost instantaneously, a burst of static erupted from the speakers. Brian recoiled, barely preventing himself from throwing the radio onto the ground. Still, he somehow clung onto his composure and spoke. "This is Security Officer Tanner. It looks like," he looked back down at the monitor, "it looks like PTB-1's containment has been compromised. Over." He really had no idea what any of it meant. It just sounded good to him. I feel that. I get that feeling. You know, you just think it to the
like, hey man, I just work here. Fuck you.
He quickly pulled the radio away from his ear before letting go of the button. Another blast of static. Is anyone there? There was silence. There wasn't even static this time, just simple silence. He carefully put the radio back down and looked around the room. I'd be worried.
Yeah, me too.
Things were completely silent. All Brian could hear...
I better still be getting fucking paid for this, motherfuckers. I don't care if you're dead or not.
Somebody better be signing my paycheck.
I'm fucking leaving.
Putting all this out overtime. All Brian could hear was the sound of his heartbeat and his slightly shaky breathing. But he soon realized that not all was silent. There was a quiet chittering noise coming from under his desk. It sounded like it was coming from right by his feet. He pushed himself away from his desk slowly and looked underneath. It was a bat. Brian stared, bewildered at the little animal. How did it get in here? How was it making those noises? It looked up and stared back at him for a moment before continuing what it was doing. It was chewing one of the computer cables. Maybe it was the bat that cut off the radios. He looked back at the monitor. Categorization: PTB1, population 14. Shit, there's one more. Oh no. He finally realized what was going on. He could remember very little from biology class, but one thing he did learn was Latin names. Musculus. This creature was part mouse. They're breathing like mice. Oh shit.
Oh shit, yeah.
Looking at the tiny bat, or mouse, or even both at the same time, a thought passed through Brian's head. There must have been a reason that the scientist never told him what he was dealing with. You think? He heard a slight squeak to his left, looked up and saw another mouse bat. He didn't really have anything else to call them, so he just chose to wait on the spot. Hello, I'm the night. My parents are dead. I died, mouse. It said there were 14 mouse bats out there, but it also showed something else. PTB2, 5, population 5. This is the fucking oh shit! This is the goddamn fucking mouse, or the ones that are half piranha, and half lyrebird. And compromised. Whatever these next creatures were, there were 5 of them.
So and now they're out. Piranhas.
He stared at the graph. Unlike the mouse bats, there was something else under the Latin names. There were the initials HG. Brian sat in total silence, racking his brain to try and find out what HG meant. He could figure out that G probably stood for genome, considering the circumstances, but he couldn't figure out what HG stood for. He heard a bang on the door, scattering his thoughts. Is anyone there? He heard a male voice say outside. Yeah, Brian said, scrambling to get up. Who are you? We'll have to make our way through the fire exit. The PTB-2s are blocking the main entrance. Oh shit.
Oh shit, they got out.
Something about the way the man was speaking made him immediately suspicious. Okay, but who are you? There was silence outside for about a minute. Just come outside, the man said. I'll have us out in no time. Brian thought of what he was going to do next. Should he listen to him? Is he even a person? He didn't think it would be surprising if whatever these people had made could mimic people.
Hey, buddy.
A single phrase made up his mind for him.
Candygram, come on out. Pizza,
Right?
buddy, I got pizza out here, man. Go on.
Okay, but who are you? It was his voice. The thing outside was mimicking his voice. It must have picked up his voice from the radio or something. Brian didn't know, and frankly, he didn't care. He made his way cautiously to the door, grabbing his radio. He had a plan. Okay, I'm coming out, he said. There was silence on the other side of the door for a few seconds. After about 10 seconds, the tapping started. Fucking tapping.
Tap, 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 tap.
It was light and barely perceptible. Brian knew he wasn't hearing things. He slowly bent down and peered under the door. There was nothing blocking it, but he could still hear the tapping.
Tap, tap, tap.
Yeah. Tap, tap, tap. 3, he whispered to himself. 2. There was another tap right after he said this. 1. He threw the door open as wide as he could, flinging himself behind it as he did so. He couldn't see much, but he could vaguely make out something behind the door. It was another bat. He quietly took in a gulp of air, as quietly as he could, at least, and waited. Words. And waited for it to go back out. If it's anything like the others, he figured, as soon as it realizes something else is here, it'll leave. Brian carefully peered around the door, trying to confirm what he had hoped. Sure enough, the mouse bats had vanished into the numerous holes they had made in the wall. He couldn't see the new bat, though. Then, he heard the last thing he wanted to hear coming from inside the room. Is anyone there? It was the voice. The same damn voice he had heard outside. Brian let out an audible gasp as he realized this. The voice came yet again. Just come outside, I'll have us out in no time. The radio suddenly came to life as the seemingly disembodied voice stopped. Tanner, are you there? The voice on the other side of the radio said. Brian recognized that voice as the head scientist. Tanner? I'm in here, Brian said. The hell's happening out there? There was a brief pause. Try not to panic. There's been a site-wide breach in containment. Yeah, try not to panic, but the monsters got out. The monsters got out.
Cool. It's like Cabin in the Woods, that scene. You're like, you're good, man.
Yeah, it's all right, man. You're good. Brian spent a moment trying to comprehend what was going on when he remembered something. The creature was still in the room. We'll have to make our way out through the fire, and the voice suddenly stopped. Then it flew past the door and landed on the ground in front of him. If it hadn't seen him, not yet, somehow. The creature was a bat, all right. It was nothing like the others, though. Its snout was much longer, and its eyes faced forward rather than to the side. Oh shit, it's a predator. What struck Brian the most, though, were its teeth. They were huge, triangular things, which almost looked too big to fit in his jaws, and they were already covered in blood. The bat turned to face him, and instead of hissing or squeaking, it did the one thing Brian hoped it wouldn't. It spoke. Okay, but who are you?
Nah, dude, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. That bat just fucking speak to me.
I would lose it.
Yo, Langstrom is
with my voice. With my voice.
That'd be creepy as fuck.
Yeah, fuck that shit. The creature that had been copying his voice and presumably someone else's was a bat. Brian and the mimicking bat stared at each other for a few moments, then it went for him.
That's what you get on the horn. You're like, hey, scientist, why the fuck did you do that?
What the fuck, bro?
What the fuck were you trying to do?
The bat catapulted itself into the air with its powerful wings flying straight at him. He flung himself sideways as it flew straight at him. Again, it's creepypasta. The bat hit its mark, leaving a large gash in Brian's arm. Now forced against the door, Brian tried to slap the bat away, but it managed to dodge.
They're paying enough for this shit.
For real,
out of here.
I better be getting overtime. Right? A deep slash across his forearms caused an immediate sting and pain. He gritted his teeth in agony and slammed his other fist into the skull of a second bat. The creature slumped onto the floor. This was no time to think, though. Brian sprinted out to the door and ran out. "Hello, hello," he shouted. "Is anyone out there?" From outside, he heard the sounds of another struggle. Brian pushed open the door and ran out, then paused. Something was off. Yeah, you think? And then he saw the shadow of something coming down the hallway. Something that very clearly wasn't a human. There was nowhere to go, and he was too weak. He was going to die. Then his gaze was drawn to a large window in the far corner. Some movement there in the corner. Something big. Something moving fast. Yeah. Nah, I'm fucking just... Bam.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm fighting bats.
A door burst open. Brian ran to the window, throwing it open. The moonlight shone bright on the street. He tried to shout at the top of his voice, but he could only croak. The noise was raw and painful. Something grabbed the back of his shirt, and he was hauled away from the window. He hit the floor hard, and he was still. A huge, hunchback creature stood over him, pinning him down with his forelimbs, which were somehow both abnormally slender, yet muscular. Gotta love that over-explanation.
Yep.
Brian couldn't breathe. Then, something grabbed his leg. Again. He'd been grabbed 3 times already. He tried to kick, but it was too late. There was a sharp sting. He cried out, but then the first creature clamped its jaws down around his throat. As it bit down, he felt a second pair of jaws inside the creature's mouth as it tore his throat out.
That's got an alien thing.
It's a fucking moray eel, dude. Moray eel bat.
Yeah.
Moray eel's got like 2 pairs of jaws. Through his blurring eyes, he could faintly discern the form of guards in body armor running down the corridor, opening fire on the creature. One of them ran up to Brian and knelt down beside him, and then the pain suddenly stopped. So he died? Who told me the story then? Who told me the story if the man died?
The mouse in his pocket.
Oh shit! It was the mouse bat.
It was like Ratatouille, but he was just,
So yeah, that was a pretty good creepy. That was not bad. That one was good. It kind of phoned it in at the end there a little bit, but everything else was all right.
These usually fall apart. Usually in the middle,
you can tell they're phoned in a little bit.
It's like going on a journey. You're walking down a hill.
It's like Marvel movies now.
And then you get in that little lull, and then you gotta walk back up the hill, and then you're okay again.
Yeah. It's like Marvel movies now, Like, they're great in the beginning, they're awesome in the middle, but then the end's kind of phoned in a little bit, Fucking to be contended.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, it's like I used to watch all this comic book movie because there wasn't a lot, and now there's so many that I can't.
Yeah, it was cool when you got a Spider-Man movie, but we already covered this in episode 2. We already covered this in episode 2.
I got one more story.
Oh, you got one more story?
Yeah, it's about... we got time. It's about a monster. It's called phase spiders.
Phase spiders?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That sounds cool.
Yep.
Is there a picture?
Nah. Yeah, there is.
Let's see the picture.
It looks like a weird
spider.
There it is.
Yeah, it's like a weird alien spider.
Yeah.
Like, it's got like quadruple jointed legs, more than fucking 8 legs. It's terrifying looking.
It is terrifying.
It's not a phase, Mom. It's not a phase, it's my wife.
Alright.
You got this.
The party of vagrants slowly trudged along the beaten path on the cold Rocky Mountains. If you focused just hard enough and you had decent eyesight, you could possibly see the towering spines of Warthome, capital of the locals. Surely there at least someone could hire those able-bodied men who have been the hardest hit by the depression and drought. This was, of course, their anchor of hope. The leader of the party, meaning the one in the front, was an older gentleman at a cursory glance, about mid-40s. He had a rather gruff expression to him. Seeming dour and stolid in his ways. He used a long bow staff to lead himself along the worn path, skillfully maneuvering along lone rocks.
This is like a fantasy story. All right, cool, like a fantasy story.
The man, whom only known as Ryder, was merely looking for work to support his family. While he rarely spoke or interacted with any of the other nomads, they were somewhat awed and somewhat frightened of this sulking man. There were stories, of course, most dealing with his actions in the War of the Fallen.
War of the Fallen. We got a Lord.
Yeah, where all the great mages practically made themselves extinct with the Fallen.
Oh shit, dude!
And some dealt with their past riches squandered on drinks and remedies and harsh speculations.
Dude, I'm sucked in already. Right? It's a fantasy story.
Ryder walked in a way much like homeless fellow down on his luck, staring at the ground, contemplating his next move. Often he would search his large sack that hung over his
Giggity.
broad shoulders to no avail.
Giggity.
Was he doing the fentanyl fold, looking in his backpack?
Do your balls hang low?
Now, Ryder was possibly one of the top experts on beasts of all kinds. From dire rats to rouses. They got rouses, dire rats.
Rows of unusual sizes.
To the hugely feared bullets.
Bullets.
It was rumored that he even once fought a Nalfshini. And had lived to tell the tale.
This is some Tolkien-esque shit, yo.
Who was never known who started the story and if it was real. Knowing that other wanderers always took his words, however rare, to great consideration, especially considering the safety of the party. So when several minutes after they had passed a small ruin on the mountainside, he hesitated to move forward. The whole train halted to wait his words, which was surely forthcoming. "We need to choose a new path," murmured Ryder, unsure of himself, sort of out of character.
What do you mean? We've no other paths to take except the one days back. And who knows how long it'll take to get to the city then.
"We don't have enough food. Think of a solution." With a gentle sigh, Ryder once more searched his bag, pulling out something of huge expense and value to him, a tangled foot bag.
A tangled foot bag.
The bag, once thrown, explodes into an adhesive ooze that would keep everything right where it should be.
Nice.
His reason for doing this, of course, was he had seen further up the mountain.
Was what he had seen.
The thing he had seen was hugely rare nowadays, and he thought that they were extinct. His hopes were annihilated now. The figure he had seen had been a mere glimmer on the horizon, but he knew what it would mean. He had seen its kind before, a pale body with dark blue engravings on the skin, with his searching white eyes seeing through you and into your soul. Knowing what makes you tick, he shivered at the thought of it. Now consider this, a hero this time, brought to fear of his being what could possibly be, you may ask. That will become apparent later.
I fucking love it.
At this point, Ryder wielded his staff in defensive position. He knew well that many would starve should they turn back, and he would no doubt that many would die if they went forward. He merely sighed and said thusly, "Those of you who would scoff at death, those of you who know all the devils and all the hells by name, and those of you who would march at the enemy knowing the odds were against you, you would come. The other, those of you who have lived sheltered lives of ease, those of you who still believe the gods give a damn about a couple of human souls. Those people should turn around. What lies before us is something unholy, ungodly, and unnatural." And with that, Ryder rode forward.
That's badass. Man,
It is. That is badass saying.
Fucking badass.
Out of a mass of men, 12 emerged. In this group, Ryder noted some worthy fighters and some known cowards, some brave men and some forgotten souls. He would work with what he got. "Very well, let's move on. The rest of you, I warn you, not all you will survive the way back. I bid you goodbye and good luck."
Badass.
Ignoring the shouts of the rest of the group, Ryder led the others forward, still searching for the quick appearances of wretched anthropod, catching occasional glimpses before it jumped back into its own dimension. He saw several small ruins, knowing that these were their nests. "How many of you were able to fight and have the means to do so?" He watched 4 of the 12 step forward. Between them, they wielded a single longsword, a blackjack, a few daggers, and a mallet.
The fuck is a blackjack?
It's a round thing, and it's made of like real heavy material and knock people out with it.
Oh, so it's a club.
Yeah, basically. But it's
All
like
right.
flat. It's like a leather. It's real heavy. Everyone had, of course, staffs much like riders. It could be carved from any such branch, and it was an invaluable tool to anybody who walked such long distances. Ryder ordered 2 fighters in the front and 2 in the back, not bothering to learn names, knowing full well that he'd be lucky if by fraction they made it out alive. Then the situation complicated itself. The tunnel.
The tunnel.
How had Ryder forgotten about the tunnel? It was possible the most dangerous part of the way now. He very much doubted if the enemy was wandering around, that any of the guards would be alive when they arrived. He saw that this was true. All that remained of the guard shack was a husk of building with massive cobwebs billowing in a slight breeze.
Oh shit.
The area around the mouth of the tunnel was heavily forested, which of course made Ryder nervous. He quickly rushed his fellows into the gaping tunnel and lit several torches. He wouldn't tell them the dangers, then they would want something else, which was foolish. This is the only way now. Inside the tunnel, Ryder consistently heard scurrying and scratching.
And
From time to time, he would find a mummified corpse covered in webs.
oh goddamn, dude, no.
The party came to an area where the tunnel bisected another tunnel, and the wind was blowing fiercely for some air shafts. A shape popped into existence in front of the group. This shape, being roughly 8 feet tall, was enormous, big enough to block much of the tunnel.
Oh fuck!
For the split second that it was seen, its eyes shone like gems in the night, a pallid beacon leading fools to their death. With a theatrical display, all the lights were blown out, and the crawling noises resumed closer now.
No, dude.
In the darkness, while time held his breath, Ryder muttered a single word: "Shit." And then in the crowded movement, a screech ran in the tunnels, and the wind stopped immediately. You could hear movement, although it sounded somewhat inconsistent, like being took a step and then skipped one, and so on. It was disconcerting, and began weighing on the mind of the travelers. Most broke ran and ran blindly in the dark. Ryder was the only one disciplined one of the order.
Was the
Everybody
only
else took
disciplined
off.
one of
Yeah. Oh shit! I'm out of here.
Oh hell no! Hell no!
Quickly, he searched through his bag, seeing with his fingers for another torch or something to set alight. All the while, he heard sickening crunches of incessant screeching of the beings, crowded round to get a shape of the prey. This tunnel would be the death of them, their everlasting sepulcher. Finally, he grasped a torch and lit it. The world went mute. Around him was displayed so much carnage that one would not know what was happening. Bodies lay bloodied at the scene with large incisions in their flesh and blood pouring from so many gashes. Quickly, Ryder searched for survivors for his next onslaught, but found none.
And found
but one, cowering behind another corpse, playing dead.
I went too, dude.
The man was small and obviously wounded. He had a weird black beard growing with short black hair. Quickly dispersing his hairline reality, he was a small build, such a clerk might be. Can you still walk, Ryder? Queried the man, contemplating leaving him for the beasts.
Yes, I think so. What were those beings? Or what were those things?
The man obviously had a speech problem, stuttering his words out carefully.
Or he's terrified, fucking shit in his pants.
Ryder ignored him, simply grinning, muttering, "Follow me." The man is no position to object, quickly obliged to follow Ryder into perpetual darkness. Still, Ryder heard the scuttling of those things, hidden beyond the walls, still haunting his every step. He just wanted to clear the wretched tunnel. Ryder drew a long sword from an unseen pocket of his person, handing the torch to the lesser man so that he might carry his sword in the tangle-foot bag at once. His staff was long ago forgotten in the dark. He found a small off tunnel and sat there with the small man nervously showing off the light in any direction he thought he heard noise. Then, in an instant, one of the monsters appeared in the way of the rider. Quickly, Ryder tossed the bag at him, blinding them both at that spot in this plain. Ryder stood, known to be cautious of this ethereal hunter.
So these things be going into like
in and out of dimensions, yeah. They're giant spiders coming in and out of dimensions.
That's like fucking terrifying, dude. Oh my god.
Quickly, Ryder tackled the gentleman so as to silence his clamor. Wait, silence, you fool!
Wait. You're here.
The little man, not realizing from what happened, looked simply dumbfounded by the being he saw. Before him stood 8 feet in height, the most enormous arachnid he had ever seen.
Yeah.
And he hoped he ever would see. It was mostly white, with hints of blue along the thorax. Its eyes were milky white with pitch-black irises that would sear into your soul. He shivered and screamed in fear of the thing, not realizing that it was trapped. Quickly, Ryder tackled the gentleman so to silence his clamor. "Silence, you fool!" Although he knew it all too well, too late. Dude, the Bing's pack would be along soon. There could be a whole cluster of this type in the train. A warm hill area lower on the mountain with this cool tunnel. Ryder had to be brief. Ever so quickly and fluently, Ryder grabbed his sword and thrust it into its body, neatly stabbing into the soft dirt floor. It died instantly, the glow fading from its eyes. Ryder ushered the man onward, cautious of the scuttling noise behind him. While sprinting, the smaller man tripped on a rock, yelling in response. Ryder had to rush back with the still advancing sounds and carry the now unconscious man to safety. Motherfucker passed out. Wake the fuck up! Very soon, Ryder realized he wouldn't survive with this baggage hindering his flight, so he found a niche of the tunnel and, after a moment's hesitation, deposited the small man there, bait for the beast. He kept on trying to get out before his mind was broken by constant sound of long, skinny legs, exoskeleton tapping on the stone. Hours later, the man awoke and began wandering out. He had no means of light about him, and he was unfazed by this. It was as if he was in a trance, merely observing himself as he walked. In almost no time at all, he found his way to the entrance and stumbled into daylight. The city was only a few miles away. He could probably make it there by sundown. However, now he snapped back into life and realized something. He went back into the tunnel to confirm his suspicions. They were true. Ryder hung in a web, dangling from the ceiling. The truly terrifying part of this, thusly, he was still alive.
Oh shit.
The spiders left him there for future food. Other bodies hung just as limply, although he was the only one struggling. The small man realized he must have happened. Straight up to Ryder's web. Ryder, seeing the man, began to shout. Although muffled, the man merely walked up and chuckled. You tried to leave me alone, huh? I was just a burden, huh?
Oh shit.
You think that I tried to be like this? No, I was trying to help, for God's sakes. I survived the first attack by those things, only to be left behind by you. No, when you find your corpse hanging in the wind, I'll be there telling about your little accident. How you fell while we were running, you just couldn't save you. Now, Ryder, goodbye.
Goddamn, how it turns the table.
And with Ryder still swaying in efforts to escape, the small man who might have been a clerk in a past life chuckled again and straight out of the tunnel in the natural light. He kept going until he got to a war zone. And his journey complete, he would have been the only one of his group to survive, as the other larger group was boxed in by an avalanche and quickly starved to
What the
death.
fuck?
Jesus. Oh yeah, I forgot about the other guys.
Yeah,
they started that. Don't worry about them guys.
No, they just got hit by an avalanche.
The small man offered wondered if Ryder had gotten out, but he doubted it. But every so often he would see a faint glimmer of the beings he had often studied afterwards, just on the edge of existence, and he knew that they wanted to be the one that got away. Him. Face splitters never lose a meal.
Oh shit, he got Final
That's
Destination.
crazy, dude.
Face spiders are good. Can you imagine though, just like out of the corner of your eye, you see like an 8-foot tall spider.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? You just put a flashlight on him and you can't move. Like, and then you kill it, and then it disappears, and you try to tell people about it.
Yeah, no, man, listen. If you're ever sitting there and you hear a little, it's the face spiders, man. Fucking face spiders are gonna come out and get you. But no, that was a good one too. That was. I mean, the ending was a little phoned in, but like, hey, he created a whole fucking fantasy universe.
That was not bad. I
a little fucking, like a little 15 minutes.
It's worth checking out these creepypastas. A lot of them are scary. They're really good if you're sitting around.
Some of them are scary. Yeah. Most of them are, hot garbage.
Yeah, if you enjoy reading stuff,
all of them are fun.
Yeah, if you enjoy reading stuff, read it. If not, you can just listen to creepypastas on YouTube.
You know what creepypastas are?
What?
Modern pulp magazines.
That's exactly
modern pulp magazines. You know H.P. Lovecraft. He was the creepypasta writer of his time.
They were called urban legends. Before that, they were called old wives' tales.
Pulp fiction.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
I ain't gonna let you die. Brenda, you bitch!
It was a turn and running old folks.
Say what again? Say what again? But no, yeah, fucking creepypasta. Yeah, no, I love them. Yeah, they're cool. Love them, fun, man. We're gonna do the creepypasta thing and phone in the ending. Yeah, if you love us, watch this.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, G. Raj and Chris died in an avalanche.
With hyper-realistic boulders and hyper-realistic guys and hyper-realistic blood
because we couldn't get out
on the hyper-realistic walls while walking in our hyper-realistic shoes with a hyper-realistic skin.
They were brown shoes with a leather.
Yes. 37 adjectives in a verb. Yeah. If you love us, watch this ad because we love you.
You guys take it easy.
God damn it. Yo, G-Raj. I seriously don't know how you're still putting up with those laggy ass servers, man. You gotta check out Nitrado.
I mean, I am tired of slingshotting into the walls.
Exactly, that's what I'm fucking talking about, dude. Nitrado's game servers are super affordable, so your broke ass can still fucking get it. Like a few bucks a month, and they got over 120 games.
That's awesome.
Ark, Minecraft, Rust. You can even swap between them at any time. No extra fees, different games, man.
Wait, you can switch games on the same server?
Yeah. Plus, setups instant, and you're totally in control. No nonsense, no contracts. Just hop in and host your own world the way it should be.
Okay, you sold me. Where do I sign up?
Nitrado.
Use the link in the description to sign up. I'm
Yep,
down.
that link right there. Just click on
try
it.
that.
It's nice and easy, man. Nice and easy.